Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Heirloom Afternoon. It is Tuesday, and it is extremely hot here in Chicagoland. It is so hot and humid outside that I feel like under these lights, it's 100 million degrees. Feels really warm. So I hope you're out there. If you are and you can hear me, please say hello, give me a thumbs up, give me some sign that you can hear me. My name is Cheryl Whited, and you can call me Muppin. I arrive here every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time, and I hope you are doing wonderfully well. We are in the middle of so many things then I cannot even start to describe how crazy it is. If you have not yet picked up our book, my friends, smock it to me. Our book is again sold out from our website once again, so they will be back in stock on Sunday the 19th. And that means that you can pick up your copy. We will be putting the new stock up soon so that you can start buying from it. Of course, thank you to each and every one of you that continues to make this our awesome bestseller of our website currently. So thank you. Once again, also our needles are in stock. So if you have not yet done that, you need to pick up my book. Oh, Andy, I recommended your book. I have Heirloom Sewists that are excited. Thank you. I appreciate you. It is a very busy weeks over here. If you have not heard, we are moving, and that is why there is no new quilt on the set for the month of June. That's because they're all packed up except for these 4 that are currently on the set. We are moving. Now, I cannot say yet where we are moving to. I will say that we are leaving this house. And when I say it like that, it makes it sound like it's this big crazy it is a very crazy undertaking. I've been in this house for 15 years. I, like many people, I am like a goldfish. I grow to the size of my container, and I have things stuffed in this house to the gills, and it is quite an undertaking to get everything packed up, including my business and everything else. So we, again, in the process of moving, and I've got a brand new product on top of it. So just in case you had thought that we were like taking a break in the middle of our moving, the answer to that is no. So what is said new product? Let's talk about it. This has if you are excited about our book, don't forget you can pick up all the book, the tools, the techniques. We've got needles, we've got scissors, we've got everything for that. But our new product is making its debut next week at the Shipshewana, Indiana quilt show. So if you have not heard, we are vending at the Shipshewana, Indiana show, and this product will make its debut there. And what pray tell is it? Let's bring in. Oh, that is not it, but that is a good. That's a good clue. So it is our very own brand new Mylar template set for tufting and stump work. Now, you probably are like, but Cheryl, like you had vintage tools. Like in the first few episodes of Heirloom Afternoon, we demoed some very old, close to 75-year-old templates. And we now have our very own laser cut Mylar templates for stump work. And this right here is an example of what that template does. So if you've never seen this before, we're going to go through a little demo for you. Now you will get the large template, the small template, several leaves, and also the circle template. And this is what makes the individual poppy flowers, which I know you're really going to love. So these templates are making their debut at the Shipshewana show next week. Now, in addition to the templates, we are offering a set of tapestry wool and a set of needles for tapestry wool sewing. So again, I understand you're probably like, I really want to try this, but I don't have a lot of this type of material on hand. Like you may be a quilter, you may be a garment sewist, and these types of things you probably don't have a lot of. So that is why we're offering this little set of tapestry wool so that you can try your hand at this. Now, if you have lots of yarn on hand, then all you're going to need is our template set. So that is really cool as well. So if you need the template set, if you've never had the template set before, that's going to get you started there. Okay, so we're going to do a little demo here, and I want to show you what I think is one of the easiest ones to do, and that's this little circle thing here. So we're just going to pick a spot on our, now this is done with wool. Uh-oh, we lost our video. Oh, it's catching up. It's going to be one of these days with the internet. I can just tell. All right, so we're going to pick this up. And what we're going to do is let me just see if I can reconnect this camera. And that may help us. There we go. All right. So nope, it doesn't look like it's going to be a little bit on the slow side. All right, so I'm just going to take some of this tapestry wool. We've got a bunch of different cool colors, and you don't need a whole lot. You just need a small amount. When you're looking at it, you only need about I don't know, like 12 to 15 inches or so. Don't cut a lot off, because you're going to be making a lot of passes through the fabric over and over again, and you want to make sure you have just enough. So let's see if we can catch up. Nope. Oh, well, we are catching up a little bit. Okay. So we're going to take one of the needles, and I'm just going to pick the smallest one just because I like sewing with a smaller needle. And I'm going to create a little, oh, this is like way behind. Oh, no. Okay. So let's see what we can do here to make this catch up a little better. We may need to close it out altogether. Let's do that. Let's close the camera out. You know, it's the tech gremlins that always seem to get me. And of course, they never raise their ugly head until we're right at the point of doing anything. So, yeah, it's still way behind. All right, so we're gonna do a bunch of things here. So, how are you doing today? My friends, am doing wonderfully well. We have been in packing crazy mode. We've been doing our most, as the most that we can possibly do to get our ourselves packed up. And of course, the business is about the last thing that's going to happen. So hopefully we'll get everything ready to go. Okay, so here we go. We're back in action. We've got our knot and we've got our just our single length. Now this is how the yarn comes. It comes with multiple strands. So don't worry about whether or not I've got multiple strands in here or not. And we're going to come up from the bottom right there in that circle, and we're going to pull, and of course it's so it's going to be one of those days. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go over the edge of the template like so, and you want to try to keep as perpendicular to the template as you can, and you're going to go back down. Now here's where and I should probably switch to a thicker needle. And the reason we want a thicker needle now is because this one is not thick enough to create a path for our yarn. Now that is something that you will have to test with your yarn and with your fabric. So that's going to be different for every single person and every fabric you try to sew through. So this particular needle, of course, we've got to thread it first, which, it's always fun and games until the threading stops. Okay, so here's the key to doing this technique, and it's the least wasteful when it comes to doing this technique. And as you can see, I've got my needle and it's come up right next to the template. Now, the reason that these are made of Mylar is that you want to be able to come up and you want to be able to feel the edge of that with your needle. And the Mylar is thick enough where um it's not going to pierce the Mylar. You're probably not going to be able to pierce that Mylar. So you're going to go back down, and again, this needle needs to be big enough to create a hole for your thread. There we go. And you can see now where you come up next is really important in this technique. And you come up directly next to where you went down previously. Okay. And so right here, right next to the template, not in the hole that you came out of. All right. And we're going to, what I need to do is I need to grab my needle pullers because my hands are so sweaty. It's so warm in here. And I'm really slipping on this needle. Okay, so when you go down and back up, okay, here's how it should look on the back. And notice here too, on my previous flower, you're going in and out directly next to where you came back out. What you don't want to do is have the same length from the top and the bottom. And if see how this is spanning the distance, we don't want that. We want the stitches to come directly up next to each other, not across. So we're trying not to make a loop on both sides. Okay, so and again, I need needle pullers because my fingers are so sweaty. Let me go grab that really quickly. So you can do two different things with the needle pullers. you can use all right, looks like we got the needle pullers here. Okay, so the needle pullers come in a bunch of sizes. So and we do sell these on our website as well. We sell them now. And if you have like a really big fingers, and they do accommodate your fingernails, which is what I love. Okay. And so there you go. And now we're going to be able to grip that needle really, really well. That is to reduce the fatigue on your hands. If you find that like pulling a needle over and over again is really, really difficult for you, then you need a set of needle pullers. And we do sell these right this second in our shop. You can get those. And you can see how we're coming back up right next to where we went down. That's the big key here. And what we're trying to do is cover this template in its entirety. And we're going to keep sewing, but you have to remember that we're trying to keep these stitches in perpendicular to the template. So, when you start to see them fanning out, you want to just make that slight adjustment to making that go over the edge in the right way. Now you're probably like, oh my gosh, like my stitches are not even. What do I do? If my stitches look a little crookedy, this is a very forgiving technique because once you cut through all of the material, you're not going to have to worry. So, if you have like you want to sew and it's a really, really warm day and your hands are so sweaty that you can't pull on the needle properly, get yourself some needle pullers because man, oh man, are they fantastic. We do sell these. And they're definitely helpful when it comes to this process. Now, again, the needle that you use depends on whether or not your material that you're sewing through is very thick or very thin, very tightly woven, very loosely woven. So you're going to have a lot of those factors as to which needle you're going to want to use. But you're going to want to use like a yarn or a tapestry needle, but something that is a sharp point, because some of these, they don't have sharp points. And so you're going to want to make sure that your yarn needle has a sharp point because you do need to pierce through all of this. Now look at how quick this is starting to go. And again, you're just going to want to continue to make sure that you are making slight adjustments for where your needle comes in and out. And that helps cover. You want to cover the whole thing here. And poor Max, he has been here with us this summer, and he's like surrounded by moving boxes. And I wish I could tell you where we're moving to. It's so exciting. The move is so incredible. I know that it seems like moving is a crazy thing to do right now. Especially when I've got so many commitments on my calendar. I'm going this week. I will be in Minnesota. So those of you who will be my Minnesota Quilt Show friends, I will see you there. And then next week I'll be in Shipshewana. So that's coming up as well. It's so crazy. But yeah, we will be, we're moving. We're packing up, and it's just like looking around here. It's like, oh my gosh, we have so much stuff. if you've ever tried to move your sewing room, which I did a couple of years ago, I took everything out of my sewing room and reconfigured it. And oh my gosh, that was just moving the stuff in the sewing room was crazy. So I can't imagine having to move it all, to a completely new location. But I'm so excited about the new location, you guys. I can't wait. More news will come out as soon as we get closer. Obviously, I don't want to jinx anything. We have a contract to honor, and I want to make sure that all of that goes through before we do anything else. That's a big important thing to go through. So and of course, I don't want anything to fall apart before it's time. So as you can see, we're just taking this this piece here, and we're covering it with this tapestry yarn, and you'll see here that we're getting down here to the end, and it doesn't take very long at all to do this process, and it's super satisfying. And what we're gonna do is these templates, the Mylar, this is, I believe, a very thick Mylar, and it's laser friendly. Not all Mylar is laser friendly. And we have these cut for us. So that's really cool and exciting. And then, so these new template sets are going to be available in our shop after we get back from Shipshawana next week. And so you'll be able to try these out without having to order a vintage set for hundreds of dollars like I did. And this is a very cool, very old technique. It was really popular in the Victorian era. It was and enjoyed a popularity all the way through the early 1940s, and then it fell out of favor, and not because of it wasn't fun to do anymore. It was because of the wool shortage, because all the wool was being used for the war effort. So the more that the wool was used for the war effort, there wasn't enough wool to go around to make decorative wool so that people could, knit and things like that. So what happened is this particular technique fell out of favor, and no one was buying the templates anymore, and basically it just disappears. And that is why we are bringing this back. So here we are. Look at that piece, went all the way around. And of course, now I pull the needle out. And we're all the way through. Now we just need to knot this on the back. Once I get it threaded again. One thing it's hard to do is thread a needle with the needle pullers on. So this is a really cool technique. It's called, often it's called Amish stump work or German tuft work. We're going to take all those identifiers out, and we're just going to call it stump work or tuft work. And these stump work, tuft work, vintage tuft work templates are ready to go. Okay, so we have this little pink circle, and we're going to move on to the next. And see, I'm just making a knot there, and we take our scissor and we trim that, and we are good to go. Now we can use our next color, and again, I'm just using the carded tapestry wool. We don't need a whole lot. I'm cutting about yonder. And this is like a it's a color called grape, and I like these deep purples. They're pretty neat. So we're just gonna create a little knot, something that will hold and anchor our thread. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go in a separate spot, because we don't want to keep all these knots like smushed next to each other, because that could distort the surface. So we're just going to do our knot like way over here on the opposite side. Now I can feel that the knot is right there. So we're just going to move it somewhere else. And notice that I'm coming right up in or next to these spots where the previous is. Now, this is where the mylar is doing its job, because as I poke up, if I get resistance, it's because the mylar is there, and then that helps me determine where my stitch should go. So we're going to now cover our previous stitches with this new color. And you can do multiple colors. You can do all one color if you like. You can do contrasting or complementary colors. This is the time when you get to use all your color wheel knowledge. And notice that, I'm not, so there may be spots where the colors from underneath peek out, and that's okay. But you can go down into the hole that you previously made for the previous color. And what's going to happen is, because this is wool, right? This is going to essentially full out. So wool and other materials, they get thicker, they full, or they felt, and that creates enough, I guess, texture or fullness to make sure that these holes don't come undone. Because you're like, but Cheryl, you're gonna cut this, and aren't you afraid of all this yarn being able to be pulled out? Well, it does not pull out. It actually, and it will continue to felt in this spot. So as you can see, this is pretty simple. We're just covering each color. The first layer covers the template, and then each successive layer covers the layer before it. And you can do, I've seen the vintage directions, they come back and they say like you can do 4 or 5 layers. It just depends on how much fullness you want in your final piece. Now, I don't need to do as many layers because I'm using basically a 3-ply tapestry yarn. A lot of times with tapestry yarn, if you cut off a big enough section, you can you can use the individual yarns, or you can put them together like I did here. And I'm using them all at once because I get more coverage with with fewer stitches. So, and all we're doing is trying to cover this previous layer with our new color. And it's pretty straightforward, and it's a lot of fun. I wish you could. So I know you'll be able to enjoy this once these come out. These templates will be out in the next 2 weeks. And I'm excited about them. We double checked that there were no barriers to us making these, and there are not. So I'm just very excited that you get to try out this technique with these new templates. And there's a ton that you can do with these templates. These simple flowers are not all that will be available. We do have a pattern planned for later in the year. And if you're just, I know you're going to love it because I love it. I've been working very hard on all of this in the middle of moving. And I can't wait for you to see this new setup. We're going to have to move the studio, so that may mean that a couple of episodes might be from a strange new location for while we get the new studio set up. But it's just incredible. I'm just so excited. You have no idea. And everybody's on board. Like the whole family is like super stoked. We can't wait. And it's not that we don't love our house. We really do. Those of you that have been on our house tours or seen any of our house tour videos on Facebook know we really do love this house. And I did think, and I know many of you have moved to a house and you thought, oh, this is going to be my forever house. And I did think that. I used to be 100%, there's no other house. This is it. I'm never going to move again. And yet here it is. Because this so incredible opportunity came up, and I just jumped with both feet. So more information will be coming, but yeah, we're so excited. Okay, so we're getting about, well, this is almost a little bit over halfway. And again, we've just started this whole process here at the beginning of the hour. And look at how far we've gotten. We're almost done with 2 rounds around the smaller template. Now, obviously, the bigger the template, it's going to take you a little bit longer. And it moves, it goes ahead, like it do. But this whole process, it's relaxing, and a lot of the pulling here is definitely coming from the fact that I'm doing this on a piece of felt. The last few of these I did on a piece of felt. I really like how the felt quilts after I make the flowers. So I do like that. And so like this flower here, right, it would get all this pretty quilting around it. I just think that that's really cool. So anyway, yeah, moving. Can you believe it? All right, so here's a situation where I have my stitch way out here, and I need to go back and fill in, right, some of this area, because I made my stitch a little bit too far away. No worries, you can fix that. That's not a problem. And if you get to a point where you're like, that is too much stitch that I can see, you can always just go back in and continue to fill that in. If you feel like that is too much, too far away, and you want that to be covered more, just go back in and take an extra stitch, just like that. So we're almost down to the wire here with the last bit. We've got like 1/4 of this little circle left to go. Now, if we had been passing it around in loops, okay, this would use as the it would use more thread. If you don't care about how much thread you're using, that, obviously isn't an issue for you. But in the way that this was done traditionally was to be as thrifty as possible with the yarn that you were using. So they wanted you to not waste thread by going this same method on the underneath side. That's why the stitches go down and come back up essentially in those same spots, because that uses the least amount of thread. It's less wasteful. All right, and we only have a couple more stitches here to go, and then we can switch to the third color. So, again, the order that you do the colors in is how you will determine the order that your flower blooms, essentially. Now, this is also a little bit serendipitous. If you're like, let's just see what colors pop out, that's one thing. All right, so now we've got that covered. We're going to go ahead and see how the way that we've taken those stitches, we're not passing the stitch under. Okay, we're doing it right next to each other. And that is definitely helping keep this straight. All right. So now we have the final color, and that's this red color. So if you play with the colors, like we were talking about with this one here, if you did the dark colors first, right, whatever layer you put down first is the layer that's going to be on the interior, and whatever layer you put down last is going to be like on this outside. So that's what you have to keep in mind. And the part that you get to play with, right? Now, if you wanted your flower to be on one color, no worries. You just keep using the same color over and over again, and you do multiple layers, of your color there. But we don't need that. Now, for each layer, you probably want another couple extra inches as you cut that off of your card, your hank, depending on what you're using for your thread. And could you do this with embroidery floss? Yes. Could you do this with just regular yarn that you have? Yes. Do you need to use tapestry wool? No. And look at how very little waste we have here at the end. So remember, this was a technique that was 100% meant to be thrifty and use up all your little scraps of yarn, as as a sewist. So we're going to once again do the same thing. We're going to go over this purple color, and it's getting a little puffier, a little poofier, which is great. And we're just going to keep going. And again, as your needle comes out and up, you're going to start feeling that template there. That's what you're bumping your needle up against. That's what the template does. It's supposed to help keep your shape of this process. So that is the fun part, as I like to say. Now, I did not cover that the best, so I'm going to go back. And there we go. And back down. Now, some of the colors of yarn, like the dye process, makes the tapestry wool feel a little bit different, and that's true of the red colors and some of the green colors. Um, they feel coarser. Is that a word? It is a word. They feel coarser than your typical yarn, right? So like I was using the pink and the purple and it didn't feel as coarse as this does with the red. So there's no difference to the yarn. They're all the same yarns. They come from the same place, but they just feel a little bit different because of the dye. The dye adheres to the yarn a little bit differently. So yeah, this whole thing is so fun. And I do these in front of the television. I love having a little project that I can take with me. The templates are going to be $16, and the full kit, including the yarn, the templates, and the and a hoop, are going to be 40, I believe. So very affordable to be able to try it out with a low without having to spend a lot of money. All right, so this is the last color that we're going to use. This red, it's called American Red. And I think it's very similar to like a turkey red or like a darker red that would have been available at the turn of the century. So I kind of like that for this. I like that you're getting like a traditional color, but you're also getting a hot pink. So, so there's that. All right. So, and I know that the rest of the United States is also sweltering right now. It is so warm out here in Chicago. 97 degrees today, and then what's like in the hundreds with the heat index. We've got a heat advisory. That's how it does not get that hot here and a lot of times, and so we have a lot of heat warnings going on. I know my air conditioning is running like nonstop. You can see my hair is starting to get frizzy from the humidity. We're here in the studio with all the lights on, and it is boiling, even though I have the full air conditioning on. So there we go. Yeah, it's a bit crazy, the weather, and I can tell you that where we're going is not going to be any weather difference. So it's not like I get to have better temperatures. It will probably be the same or worse, depending. So that's exciting. So this whole process, isn't taking very long, and you can finish one flower, with all 3 layers. Usually this type of flower you can finish in an hour, from start to finish, and that will include any of the cutting that you're going to need, that you'll do, which we'll do here by the time. See, this thing is starting to freeze up again. It's the technical glitches that always got me. That, it's like I am not doing anything different, but it sure is acting up like crazy. And of course, it's so hot that my even my my finger things are sliding around on my fingers. It's just that warm out right now. And so, this is where you do find a cool project that doesn't like weigh you down, isn't very warm. I know a lot of quilters who don't like to do a lot of machine or hand quilting in the summer because it's too hot. And I agree. It is too hot. And so, you're going to start to see the thickness of the yarn layers, and you're trying not to pull any of that down. You want the thickness to stay where it is. So we are almost done and almost all the way around. And I am excited about this project. So, it is a very cool little thing that you'll get, some yarn to try with if you want the kit. Otherwise, if you can just get the templates on their own, and they'll be available after we get back from Shipshewana. And I'm excited about the Shipshewana show. I've heard great things about the show. Never been. And I know that my friends have vended there quite a bit and had really good success. So I'm excited to give it a try. If you have a quilt guild that is having a show and we're not too far from it, we're interested. So tell us more about your show, and we'll come on out and vend. So you get to meet me and get my book and all the other things. So it's pretty exciting. And again, your needle's got to bump up against that template there. So that's what you're trying to make sure you, because your needle is unless you're like super strong, you're not gonna put your needle through the template. Okay, so you're probably like, but I'll put my needle through that flimsy plastic. No, you won't. Unless you're Hercules or Wonder Woman. Probably not. And so we're down here to the wire. Last few stitches, I'm very excited because I always like the reveal at the end, right? Like, isn't that the whole point? Like, you want to see the finished product. And earlier, while it was still somewhat cooler out, the family went outside and mowed the grass, and so now we can hear the garbage guy. So it's lots of fun. Trash day, yard day, all those things that interfere with all my videos. So, all right, we are down to it. We've got the last stitch going in. There we go. The video that you're watching is a little behind, but I'm going to catch it up here in just a hot second. There we go. And it is knotted and trimmed. All right. So let's get this video back to caught up. Lots of fun today. Nope. What did they say? I always say it's all fun and games until the technology stops. So let's try this again. There we go. And are we ready? I think we're ready to get this. All right, so now we're ready to cut into this here. And all you need is a good sharp pair of scissors. And you're going to insert, let's get this, there we go. You're going to insert your scissors until you feel the Mylar template under there. And don't worry, you're not going to go through all down to the bottom. You're just going to be able to trim through and start trimming. Do I have a sharper? Where are my other little snips? Oh my goodness, it's going to be one of these days. I have a, here we go. A little embroidery scissors will make quick work of this. And you're running that scissor along the edge. You can start to see the layers peel apart. There's a lot of layers there, so don't worry about. You're starting to see the colors pop. Oh, I need to bring it back into the camera, Cheryl. All right. There we go. This is my favorite part. Once you do all the stitches, you got the cutting's the favorite part. All right. You're starting to see the process, the bloom, as I like to call it, the flower bloom. Now you're cutting across the yarn. There we go. There we go. Come on. Almost there. All right. So now that we have it, we have to get the template out. And you might need to come back and snip a thread here and there that might be still holding the template in place. So once you start peeling it out, if it looks stuck, right, like it does right there, you just gotta snip those yarns. And voila. Now, before you're like, that looks terrible, Cheryl. It is not fluffed out yet. So we got to go ahead and start floofing out. And again, it's super random based on like how your colors were laid down. Notice that it's filling in the center where you pulled your template out. And if you need to, you can always come in and give your yarns a little trim, give them a little more fabulous look. So a lot of it is going to depend on which location you put your yarns. If you want to use your yarns all in like one color, or you can do them in multiple colors like we did here. So there you go. So that is how to make this individual flower. Now, what we're also going to do is add some leaves to this flower. So you can add a leaf on each side, and you can do that with the green yarns. and you do the same thing. You cover the whole template, and then you cut through the template, and then we can stitch a chain stitch stem. If you wanted some yellow or something in the middle here to make this center of this flower more yellow, or you could also use other colors. You could stitch in the middle here and then trim it, and that will fill in the middle. You could also do, this is for this size here. And then of course, there's the super large size, which will give you not just the open work type of flower, but also the regular giant flower. And this is the size that would be on a lot of quilt blocks in Victorian through the 1930s. So if you've ever seen one of these, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very easy to do. And these are going to be available in 2 weeks. I know it's hard to believe, right? It's 2 weeks, and we'll be in Shipshewana. Don't forget, this week, if you're at the Minnesota Quilt Show, I cannot wait to see you there. I'll be teaching a class on Thursday. So if you see me in Minnesota, say hello. If you're going to Shipshewana, say hello. I can't wait to see you there. And then these templates will be on sale on our website by the end of the month. It's crazy. I'm so excited. So, my friends, I hope to see you very shortly. If you are at all inclined, please definitely pick up our smocking book over at shop.muppin.com. And again, over the next few weeks, you're going to see some changes going on. Sets may look a little bit different until we get the new set up in our new location. But I'm very excited, and I can't wait to tell you everything. My friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a fantastic